is going on, everybody? Welcome in to the North End Podcast, episode 268. My name is Zach Graham, your host here in the North End, joined, as always, by my good buddy. He's on record as my best friend. His name is Ian Michaud, and we call him... E, sitting here on a Thursday, a little bit cold in Austin, Texas, coming off a game that was very much there for the taking in LA late on Wednesday night. Game 2 coming up fast. How you feeling, my friend?
Oh, man, I'm feeling a lot of things. That's for sure. I guess I'll start with proud. Proud of the performance last night from the dudes out there in a very, very hostile environment against a very, very good team. Like, I think it needs to be stated that this is one of the best teams in the world. Like, Opta had them at 129 on the FIFA rankings in June. So that's before they added a Golden Boot winner from the Premier League and Porteous, I'm pretty sure, who was on the Championship League. So, like, this is one of the best teams in the world. And no, I'm not saying they're up there with your Barças or your PSGs or your Madrids and all of that. This is one of the highest quality teams in the world. So, like, that performance last night, I was proud of it for sure. I definitely feel encouraged. Like, we have a recipe versus this team that put us in a position last night to steal that game on the road. And, like, am I disappointed that they weren't able to get the job done? For sure. But my expectation was lose 2-0, and I felt I might have been a little bit conservative what I thought LAFC could have done to us in a game 1 in their house, fully rested, fully healed, all their guys ready to fucking go. So, like, definitely not incredibly disappointed about that, but still bummed because obviously I want my team to win. And then, you know, it's hatred because I hate this game of soccer. You give up an own goal versus this team in the 18th minute or what have you, and then everything changes. And, like, the game just completely changes. You have to play 70 minutes of how LAFC wants to play this game. And that just sucks, and this game was definitely there for the taking. I thought once we leveled it back at 1 that we were definitely going to a shootout, and I felt great about our chances in a shootout versus this LAFC team with Lloris on the other side, who has not been good at saving PKs since his introduction here to MLS. So I'm excited for Sunday, back up against the wall. We're going to see what this team is really made of. And, I think there's a lot of good things to take away from this game. And I do have some critiques that we will get into as we break down this game. But overall, I was satisfied with the performance from the dudes last night. And I was satisfied with the game plan that Nico and his staff rolled out to go ahead and try to pull off a big upset in this Western Conference first round here.
Yeah, and I think, like, going back to what you said about, what we not just expected, but what we know this LAFC team can do to almost any opponent in this league. We go to the odds at the sports book, right? Like, if the odds were that predictive, then we just wouldn't play the games. We know who would win every time. But to just kind of piggyback on what you were getting at there with the sentiment around this game and the series as a whole, Austin was the largest road underdog out of all the game 1s. And they were far from the worst road team in terms of their performance in game 1s. And I think it's also important to note that in this sample size in 2025, only 1 of the 8 road teams won on the road in game 1. And again, Austin was right there. So I'm kind of surprisingly looking forward to recapping a game that was ultimately, Jesus, a loss. Hopefully it doesn't take Austin FC 3 tries because we'll be out after 2. But I'm looking forward to recapping this here with you and with all the listeners before we get into the rest of episode 268 here in the North End. Just have to remind you all, as we always do, whether you're listening to us on the audio version or watching on our YouTube channel, that you can support the show financially by downloading the audio version of our episodes wherever you get your podcasts. And so Apple, Spotify, you can toggle on auto downloads. That'll support the show going forward, and you don't have to think about it again. If you want to go the extra mile, rate and review the show wherever you get those pods. And you can also go the extra mile if you're watching on the YouTube by subscribing to the channel, because that does help us grow the show. You can hit the notification bell there on YouTube to know when a live stream pops up or a new episode goes live. And of course, here on episode 268, hit the thumbs up, like the video. Help us battle the YouTube algorithm overlords by atoning for your sins and washing yourselves clean in the waters of the North End. One thing that I wanted to just put on everybody's radar before we get into the recap of last night's match. And this, I do want to shout out our buddy, the Ribbinator, friend of the pod, Adam Ribick, kind of giving us the heads up that this is going on here in about, or just under 2 weeks. There is an Austin FC blood drive going on Tuesday, November 11th. This is at Q2 Stadium. And this is from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. on Tuesday, the 11th. And if you go and donate blood at the drive, you will get an exclusive We Are Blood and Austin FC t-shirt, and you will be entered to win a heartbeat kit signed by the entire team just for going over there and donating blood, which is an honorable thing to do in the first place. So again, Tuesday, November 11th, you can schedule an appointment at weareblood.org/donor, and we will retweet or repost rather across our socials this graphic here. Again, November 11th for the blood drive. So shout out to Adam for bringing that to our attention, and shout out to everybody who's going to go out there and donate to this good cause.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's cool to get the heartbeat kit signed by the entire team. That's an awesome potential win for someone.
Yeah,
there.
Absolutely. I would take that. Might have to go give some blood here on Tuesday the 11th. We got the original Verde and Black Stripes kit with a lot of signatures. Wouldn't hate to have a heartbeat there on the other side. So let's go ahead and jump into our recap of last night's game 1 here, E. And of course, starting as we always do with the lineup, I think you nailed it. All 11 players, I think. So Coach E, how did you feel when you saw you were that right?
I wasn't surprised. I think that was the lineup that gave us the best chance to steal this game. And again, I'll point back to my frustrations with Johnny this year. I think he works in this matchup, and I think that is large in part to his ability to cover a lot of ground, particularly versus a team that likes to counterattack with speedy wing players up and down this pitch. So I liked Johnny in the starting lineup here. Everything else I thought was fine. Again, I just think Nico has been hesitant to go to that 3 traditional center back look. And while Biru has struggled at times in that position, that left center back kind of role when we push back to the 5-back defensively, he's also been fine, plenty of times when we've seen him in that role. Yeah. And I think he did his job last night for sure.
Yeah, and you look at the other side of this one, and I think pretty much exactly as we would have expected LAFC to line up, right? They've got their typical back 5 there with Hollingshead and Palencia pushing up into the attack, and obviously that did hurt us at multiple points throughout the 90 minutes. That Delgado, Chouanier, Tillman, midfield, and of course the 2 superstars up front. So getting into this one, man, and obviously everything is ratcheted up once you get to the postseason. But these first couple minutes, hell, the first couple seconds, there's a false start here, for lack of a better term, before the first whistle. And Son is getting ready to rush our side because we had the ball first, and Ilie kind of steps into his path. And then Rosendo Mendoza actually does blow the first whistle, and Ilie levels Son right there in the center circle. And yeah, you say love it. I think we all said, everybody who was watching with us where we were last night, all said you love that setting the tone. And no foul called either, which was also a tone setter from the official.
Yep, and I think I thought the officiating last night was solid for sure. Yeah. We're going to get into some of these potential offside calls and everything like that, but they let us play. They let them play. But I love seeing this right from the rip. And like Son, we put him on his ass plenty of times last night. And like he took a beating, and like it's clear, like you said, we were the biggest road dog on the books going into this matchup. But LAFC is going to earn, if they're going to win and advance in this best of 3 series, they're going to earn it versus us, and it's going to take a toll on them. And right from the rip, you see it right here. We knew the physicality was going to be built into the game plan and mucking this game up and trying to make it as nasty as possible. So I loved setting the tone with that right there.
And then you get it on the comeback in the second minute. Owen fouled very hard by Ryan Porteous. And then as the advantage is played, Palencia just crushes Azuni. So this play is stopped. And then we do get a replay on the Porteous foul. And he also nut taps Owen there. And like, man, okay, it is on. And on the replay, on the rewatch this morning, rather, I didn't see this while we were watching it last night, but Porteous and Wolf both exchange a little handshake and a grin there after that one. So again, both teams ready to go right out of the gate. And in the 5th minute, here's where LAFC is really starting to settle into possession. And through the first 20 minutes or so, again, I think the game script was playing out exactly not just how we expected it to, but how Austin wanted it to. Not necessarily in this moment, but with LAFC controlling most of the ball. Here in the 5th minute, it is Palencia hitting a ball over the top right into the path of Son, who's on a dangerous run in basically one-on-one in this moment with BHI. And Son turns it centrally as he gets to the edge of the 18, and then Bouanga, and I should say both Bouanga and Johnny G are in a foot race, and Bouanga's got to step on him. And I think there was some oh fucks in the room where we were watching as this play is unfolding. Son feeds him nicely, Bouanga that is, as he's entering the 18. And Jon Gallagher, man, his first of many key plays on the night, able to slide in and block this Bouanga shot cleanly out for a corner. Potentially a goal-saving effort there by Gally. And this is the one thing you were talking about Biru like being fine. I think on the night, Biru as a whole was fine. I would agree with that categorization of his performance. But in this play in particular, he was once again caught out positionally unaware because he's jogging back. He does not check his shoulder for Bouanga. And if he's in a full out sprint, I think he can cut off that passing lane before Son can get it to Denny. So again, maybe just nitpicking there, but that was something I picked up this morning on the rewatch. Austin ultimately defends 2 corners. LAFC earns a third, and there's shouts for a handball on Danny, who was not even looking at the play. And we have seen handballs be called for handballs that you are not looking at and have no impact on the play. So luckily, the officials didn't go crazy there. There was a review, but I think I said at the time, there's no way you can call that, and they didn't. I know that is a mouthful, a long passage of play there that I'm describing, but starting with that pass over the top and Son setting up Denny, huge play from Johnny G.
Huge play. And I think, again, to go back to my desire for Johnny to start in this lineup, that it's on display right there, because Komanich does not get back and beat Bouanga in a foot race. And I don't think you're nitpicking with Biru here, because it's been consistently when he is in that third center back position, his situational awareness and position isn't great. And this is a prime example of it. So I do think we weathered this storm a little bit to start here, because this is how they want to play, man. They want to get balls over the top. They want to get those 2 guys in space, and they're going to take their chances with that. So great recovery by Johnny here to get this ball deflected out of bounds. And then you remain stout on these corners. They had 8 last night, and I thought our corner defense was really good.
Yeah, and when you think about it in that context, 8 corners on the night, 3 of them come here 5 minutes in. So you only get 5 more corners the remaining 85 minutes plus stoppage. And again, I think that is, if you can hold LAFC to that type of rate, then I think again, it's part of that recipe that you mentioned to compete with this team. It was a quiet first 15 or so minutes offensively from Austin, and that may be putting it nicely. It's kind of non-existent there, but in the 17th minute, finally the Verde and Black showing some signs of life on that side of the ball. Still unable to generate a clear chance, but here matriculating that ball up the left side of the midfield at the foot of Guilherme first and then Owen. And Wolf turns and sweeps a ball towards Bukhari in behind. Osman gets called for a push here. I think it's a soft call, but not a wrong one. And it was not the only time on the night where we floated a ball towards Book, and he damn near brought it down and got a chance. And if we're going to, or I should say, if LAFC is going to be so successful at limiting Osman's desire or willingness to take that chance to beat his defender, who was Segura for most of the night, if he's unwilling to take that chance to try to beat him to the end line in a foot race and allow the double team to come over and then completely shut down his chances and his avenues to put us in successful positions, then trying to hit some balls over the top to him is the next best thing. And so I hope we see some more of that. But shit, man, you got to be able to lure LAFC and that stout back line out. And we just did not have much of that on the night as a whole.
Yeah, I think like we talked about, mentioning some criticisms from last night. I think our inability to get Buka into space was a huge problem. And like, that's something we have to figure out. I also think his overall hesitation when the ball did hit his foot last night hurt us because and obviously this is not the most advantageous way to try to get some goals generated, but like we need you to go one-on-one or one-on-two in some of these situations and hope that you can make something happen in those scenarios, and I was just looking at his touches last night, came in at 26, Mirtu at 35. So like, I want to see those numbers increase, but obviously knowing how we're playing and approaching this LAFC matchup, those guys aren't going to get a ton of chances. And like, when they do get those chances, I want them to be ultra aggressive, super aggressive. I want to see shots from distance. I want to see you trying to beat your man one-on-one as much as you possibly can and try to generate something for us. One thing that has to be pointed out is just no Rubio sucks right now.
Yeah.
Really fucking sucks. He would have been very, very helpful last night in this matchup. And, it's looking like he's not going to be able to go for game 2 either. And that
he was officially ruled out. Okay. Like we put that together when he was announced as making an appearance at the pregame party on Sunday.
Yeah.
But Nico did confirm after the game that he's out. And dude, like if they're ruling him out that quick for game 2, I don't think we may not see him. If you're able to make it out of this round, you still might not see him the rest of the playoffs because this is very clearly a serious hamstring injury that he suffered. You presume in practice before that last LAFC game at the Q.
Yeah, and again, this is one of the stark differences between these two teams. We do not have the depth to replace a guy who is a replacement level player at this stage of his career in MLS. And like that just puts it into, a microscope, the difference between these two teams. But again, Buka and Mirtu have to be more aggressive. And I'll live with some bad shots, man. I really will. Like, we got to see if something can happen.
Yeah, and like just to kind of finish up on that point, I know we've kind of belabored it here, but like just a few more times, I want a higher rate of aggression from Book in terms of going at Segura or whoever's in front of him, because not only will you put that defender on their heels, because I know those guys are good on the LAFC backline. I promise you, Book, you're better. Right, overall, over a larger sample. So we need a larger sample of you taking these guys on. Because even if you push that towards the end line, even if it's unsuccessful, that double team is still coming.
Mm-hmm.
Pull them out of position. So anyways, all right, we'll leave that there. We'll go to the 20th minute where Matthew Chouanier plays a through ball to the feet of Ryan Hollingshead. And watching live, he certainly looked to be in an offside position, and the Austin backline thinks so as well. Hollingshead corrals that pass on the left edge of the 18, then turns inward, crosses over Ilie, just completely loses him, and opens space at the end line to play in a low cross on the ground, and it gets redirected by Brendan Heinzike in for an own goal. And look, they do go to replay review and confirm that Hollingshead was onside, and so I have this again, amateur screen grab here from the rewatch this morning. And man, it is so close. Because, arm, not off. But shoulder would be. And I understand that Heinzike is leaning here and potentially keeping him onside, and that is what the VAR decided after the goal was scored. But I do think that from this angle, without the technology that we should have in this league, without that technology, I think it's fair to say that the call in the field should stand in this instance, which doesn't help us, but I think that's what I would want if the roles were reversed here. It is that close. But can we please, I know this is like the 18th time we've said this season, but that investment into technology to draw lines, and look, despite some of the fans' best efforts to draw lines, I saw some lines being drawn that were, oh my God, I literally was about to start crying laughing at some of those. But yeah, man, like I would just love to be able to confirm with the actual technology that is out there in the serious leagues around the globe to make sure that this is the first goal in this game. Because again, if it's not, like, we could have very easily come out of there up 1-0 in this series coming back home. But again, I will agree with the officials' assessment with the tools that were provided to them that this is onside barely and just very unfortunate. And I don't know how much blame we can put on Brendan Heinzike. I haven't been putting much in my head, but good God, man, this guy. And like, I don't even think I mentioned in my notes when he gets fucking Scott Sterling again.
Oh
but
God, yeah.
The amount of bad luck that Brendan has had just doing his fucking job, which he does well, right? Yeah. Like, not his best moment here, but very unfortunate.
Yeah, I mean, I think I'm there. Obviously, live watching this, I thought he was off.
Yeah.
Upon further review, I think I'm with you. I can't see a reason why they would overturn this call on the field the way it was called. And then just so fucking unfortunate, man. We have 7 guys in the box when he makes this turn and beats Elie. 2 of them, I believe, is Dessler and maybe Pep are behind the ball. Yeah. But like that still leaves 4 or 5 guys in the box to defend this. And this wasn't particularly a great ball. Yep. I think this probably goes behind Bouanga if it gets through, who's making a run in the middle of the zone there. So just so fucking unfortunate. And for this team, LAFC, that is, to get this own goal to start this game, just it sucks. I'm going to be, I'm still proud of the way that we responded here and everything. And like, super unlucky for BHI, who I thought overall had a really good night. I mean, he was the guy that we saw on Sun most of the time, and he was ultra physical with him, and he was making him earn everything that Sun got last night. And I don't know how he won man of the match, but
what the fuck?
Like, he had some really nice plays for sure. He created some chances. The one play in the second half, I believe, where he gets a shot off on Brad, or maybe that was later in the first half. Was a nice move for sure, but I thought overall BHI did his job, and this is just fucking unlucky, man.
I have a question about the man of the match, because I was asking myself the same question today, because I had that reaction when I saw him as man of the match. I was like, fuck, that doesn't make much sense to me.
Yeah.
Who would you have named man of the match? I think for me, it's Hollingshead.
I think it's Hollingshead. It's Hollingshead or Bouanga for me. Sure. Those are the 2 guys for sure.
Yeah, well, fuck all 3 of those guys. We'll move to the 28th minute here, where I thought there were some very good, agile, dangerous Mirtu Izuni runs that either went unnoticed by his teammates, or like the LAFC defense was able to pressure the ball enough where they could not make that pass attempt towards Izuni. But here, Austin able to find some space to at least settle into the LAFC half for the moment. It's because, of course, after the goal, now LA is completely content to sit back in their low block. So Austin works the ball right to left, where Guilherme Biru tries to square the ball centrally to Mirtu, who's surely going to have either a chance to shoot or to take on Nkosi Tafari one-on-one, and Rosendo Mendoza can't get his ass out of the way. Ball hits the official. That stops play. It does give a drop ball to Austin, but it allows the LAFC defense to reset. And now our drop ball has a defender right in front of it. So again, I know that happens every couple of games in the run of play. The ball hits the official. But again, it was just another piece of just luck that did not go in our favor last night. So that was certainly frustrating, and even more frustrating for the players. You see them all throw their hands up like, come on, brother, like jump a little bit. It looked like he couldn't even jump over a fucking phone book.
Yeah, I mean, look, a couple bad bounces last night for real. And like outside of that, I think you matched the level of intensity that you needed to have to play this LAFC team. I think you matched the physicality, and I think you had the game plan to steal this game last night. But again, this game is fickle. It is it is just so frustrating sometimes. And like for this to happen absolutely sucks, because you're right. This is going to be Mirtu's probably his best look all night long that he had all night long. And like, I would have loved to have seen him be able to do something with this, but Christ, man, like jump, dude, just jump.
Yeah. Get out of the way, man.
Do whatever you can to get out of the way.
34th minute, you get Danny called for a foul on Hollingshead, and Mendoza pulls Danny over for a talk. Dude, on the replay, there is, I don't think we can say zero contact here, but so little. Like Ryan Hollingshead was halfway to the ground before there was any contact at all, before those guys even came together. And there was a couple flops on the night and like Danny gets one himself later in the game where there's just officials falling for that type of stuff. 2 minutes later, this is maybe the moment of the night. Actually, I think I can say hands down, and don't quote me on that because maybe I'll get more worked up later in the podcast, but Choinier goes right through Owen's back on the near sideline to the broadcast camera. And to not give Owen that foul, not only is that foul called globally, but you've been giving that, Mendoza, you've been giving that foul the first half hour. That is fucking disrespectful to a player of that caliber in this game to not give that foul, especially because then Choinier takes a touch down that right sideline, zips it to the foot of Son, top corner of the box, and the former Tottenham forward turns, splits Ilie and BHI. Really looked like at times there that he was going through 4 Austin defenders, but now Son's got space about 16 yards out, and Suver's able to make a solid save. It's not Son's best shot attempt of his career, but, Son wide open in front of you. Good save by Brad there, but going back to the foul, man, and the linesman is right fucking there.
Yeah.
That was an inexcusable no call.
Particularly after the flop we had just seen from Hollingshead.
Yes.
Like, what are we talking about, man?
Consistency.
Yeah, I thought the officiating was good last night. I did.
Right, this is the one time I get to bitch. Let me
for sure. I thought it was fine last night. The announcing, on the other hand, was a fucking disgrace.
You, Keith.
Good God, what did we do?
He's getting worse, dude.
I know. He butchers CJ's name later.
He doesn't know how to say Nico's last name.
It's insane.
Estevez.
How do we keep getting this dude,
the whole night? And this motherfucker's going at Austin fans when we have the gall to point out that you're saying one of our all-stars' last names wrong. And then you get the head coach and the kid who was the story of the league for 3 weeks.
Yeah.
Foudry. Estevez. Fuck off, Keith Costigan.
Oh, it's
Don't
crazy.
Go at P. Mike like that. We're coming for you.
And just like again, there's absolutely an inherently a bit of a bias that is taking place with the announcing with LAFC, like these LA teams all the time.
It doesn't help that Keith lives in LA
for sure. So like, whatever, man. I guess that'll be my little bitch session too, because good Lord.
Well, bring back Adrian Healy, man. There's only 1 minute of stoppage given in the first half, which again, I thought, like, can there be 2? We had multiple. Right. We had the handball review. We had a review for the goal. There's not 2 minutes at least. Again, not that we were going to do shit with it, because we got a chance to do a long throw in that 1 minute and we passed. And
this was another one of my critiques. This was inexcusable to not, I get it, and I thought, at times last night where we've talked about like the team not having crisp possession, the passes being a little light. They're not, playing guys into space properly. The possession was fine last night when we had the ball. Everything looked okay. But like, again, they're sitting back. You got to try something here. You got to put your foot on the pedal, man. Again, this is a best of 3. We could lose this game 22-0. You got to try something.
Doesn't matter.
You have to try something here to put something past Lloris and just give yourself a shot. They got a fortunate, lucky own goal on us. Maybe we can draw a PK. Maybe something can happen. I'm not saying that it's probable, but like, again, we need to try to make the most of the limited amount of opportunities we're going to have because of the way we have to play this team.
Coming out of the half, no changes for either side, but it was that first minute where Mikel Dessler gets so shook by Denny Bouanga, he literally falls on his fucking face. I'm not literally on his face, but like went sliding.
Yeah.
And that was, I mean, dude, if you do that at the park, like everybody, the sidelines, rushes the field, like the game's over for a couple of minutes. Like, you got to clear shit. Like that was a fucking move there by Denny. Svatak picks up a caution in the 49th, pulling on Hollingshead's jersey in transition. That was a professional foul there. 51st minute, Austin here working possession in the LAFC half on the left side of the field. But Danny just inexplicably passes it right to Son. Like if you didn't have different jerseys, you would have thought he was on his own team. Like, and so of course Son is now off to the races. Ilie takes him out and he picks up a caution. So now we are adding yellows to our defense, and LAFC tries to go quick here. We don't see it because of the replay. And then of course Mendoza brings the ball back and they get to go again either way. So I guess keeping Brad on his toes, because as we didn't see it, but it sounded like Brad may have had to make a save there on Bouanga. But again, I thought Danny again was fine on the night, but that was a big mistake because again, you get Ilie that yellow, and then if Mendoza allows them to play, you almost give up a goal there. Yeah. So again, you go from like us starting to settle into their final third to on our heels. Unfortunate play there.
Yeah, I mean, our margins are so small in this matchup, and like a small play like this could really just fucking bury you. I will say, I love the foul on Son. I hope he's sore come Sunday. Yeah. I really do. I hope we took something out of his legs last night, and he's going to be feeling it when he comes to Austin.
Yeah, nothing dirty, just physical.
No, nothing dirty. Physical foul, playoff foul. That's a playoff foul.
Yeah, 56th minute here. Austin back in possession, and like, again, LAFC content to let us have the ball now that they're up 1-0. But Austin, I think, was starting to work a bit quicker than they have to this point of the match once they do get into the Los Angeles final third. In this moment, Dessler floats one towards Johnny G at the back post. He chests it down into the vicinity of Guilherme Biru, who's at the spot. Guilherme, was taking his chances to go up there and play striker at times last night. And Guilherme pokes this one on net. His shot is blocked. Mirtu gets on the rebound with his back to goal, and he tries to whirl around and take a shot, and that ends up wide. I think Mirtu may have been offside either way. But again, you're starting to see that the first 10 to 15 minutes of the second half, Austin is on the front foot, not to the degree that we've seen in some games this season, but like considering the opponent here and their defensive acumen, like we were not out of it.
No, even after the own goal and everything, and LAFC kind of changed their formula for how they were going to play us here, we were still right there. We were right there the whole fucking game, dude, and a couple bad bounces, and just not. Again, I'm going to come back to the aggression side of this thing for us offensively. We're going to have to take some chances that are not high probability and just see if we can make something out of them. I do think some of the balls that were coming into the box last night in the second half in particular, we're fine. We're fine attempts to try to get something going here, and this is a good example of that.
63rd minute. Austin, another long bout of possession here, and things really open up when Danny turns and darts through 4 LAFC defenders to break a line, and he approaches the 18, tries to slip a pass through here towards Azuni, and that pass gets deflected, but Mirtu, with his effort, is able to win that loose ball, and he drops it to Osman, who slides it to Dessler just above the 18, and Mikel pops it back into the mixer, where Nkosi Tafara is there. He tries to nod it down, but that header goes right to the feet of Azuni, who taps it to Owen Wolf, and Owen's gotten a chance to shoot there, and probably a decent shot at scoring a goal. But Wolf just, again, exhibiting the supreme composure that he possesses in moments like these, he makes the extra pass to a wide open Jon Gallagher on the left. Johnny does well to slot it home inside that far post, and we are 1-1. And
Boom.
just to highlight how good of a possession this possession started at 61 minutes and 5 seconds on the clock. 20 passes later, you finish it off with a goal, 62-12 on the clock. And that is one of it. It was not clean the entire way through. Couple deflections, but you kept possession. You kept at it. You put the pressure on that black and gold back line, and you come away with the equalizer. And like you said earlier in the episode, man, like now you're not, dude, for a little while there, I wasn't just thinking PKs. Yeah. I was thinking this LAFC team is frustrated. They're out of sorts. The fans are now on edge because they know they're supposed to come in here and walk all over us. I was feeling like we could maybe just get it done in 90, but completely content to go to PKs with this team on the road to open the series. So you're feeling great after this.
Feeling absolutely incredible. And again, they had the own goal, a couple fortunate bounces in that first half. Things didn't go our way, but you hung tough the entire time, and then you get rewarded here. And now we're 1-1 and we're level, and I feel great because you already proved that you can play with this team, and you already proved that you can beat this team. I know they weren't the same level of team they are right now, but like we know we can. We know we can play with these dudes. And like I want to go back to the start of this, which is Danny being aggressive and putting the black and gold team in a compromised situation by beating a couple guys off of the dribble. And that's what I'm talking about when I'm saying, Osman, as soon as it hits your foot, let's go. Let's try to see something happen because it's going to break their shape. And kudos to everyone on this play who keeps their head, keeps their composure. A lot of guys could have just fucking tried to blast a shot that most likely gets blocked by the many LAFC defenders in the box here. And then Owen Wolf, man, absolutely fucking class to dump this ball off to Johnny G, and fucking feeling awesome, man. Absolutely awesome.
Right off the restart here, man. Buka nicks it off Eddie Segura right at the back. Flag goes up from the linesman for a foul. From the broadcast angle, it didn't look. I did not think there's any inkling of a foul here. So again, I don't know what that linesman saw, but if there's no foul call there, dude, Buka's in on net right after the restart. And so again, that my rage level has not risen to the same that it was there in the first half with that Owen non-call. I did just remember that we have an instance later in this match where it might, but that was just unfortunate because I stood up like, oh, here we go. 2-1. Right, it's coming right away.
And again, the physicality of this game did not, beget this being a foul call, in my opinion. And again, I thought the officiating was fine. I thought they were letting us play, but there are a couple moments, and this is one of them, where the consistency was not there.
Yeah, and I would just love to see, like, we get all these replays at inopportune times with these Apple broadcasts. Like, give me one of that foul, please. Like, I would love to see a different angle to see maybe, from the broadcast. You couldn't see a shirt tug or what have you. But either way, 68th minute. LA earns back-to-back corners here. And on the second attempt, the ball finds the head of Hollingshead, and Stuver pushes it up and over for another corner. And then on the third corner, whistle for an LAFC foul. And that's where, again, I think that's where Costigan and Adu mention on the broadcast, like you can feel the frustration there building up in the stadium as we progress through this second half. First sub comes in. Buka was limping around a little bit after a tough challenge. I forget who fouled him there. I didn't have any problem with the foul, but it was, it was physical. So Robert Taylor comes in for Osman Bukhari in the 71st minute. Robert Taylor, 3 straight appearances, playing on the right side for us. And I also think there's a conversation to be had. We have to acknowledge the fact that Robert Taylor was the first sub off the bench, and you do not see Hader Obrian last night.
I mean, we're sitting there. I said earlier, give me some Robbie Taylor.
And you were on point yesterday.
We got it. And again, me and you had a conversation about that, and it was just like, was he more injured than we thought he was? Did the injury lead to his conditioning not being at the level it needed to be? Right. Are there stipulations in his contract that we don't want him hitting a threshold for regular season games? Were we just saving him for playoffs? I don't know. You know what I mean? Again, and like my position had been, of course, if you're not beating Hot Air Obrian out, you're not that good. And
Sure.
like from what I had seen from Robbie Taylor in the past, I thought he was good. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So like I was excited to get him here. Definitely bummed that Buki came out, but again, he's going to have to show up on Sunday big time for us. Like he really is. If we're going to be able to score some goals and generate some good chances, so he's going to have to be ready to roll Sunday for sure. So I guess I get it. There's just not a whole lot of options, man, that you feel good about.
Sure.
You know what I mean? And there's going to be one guy in particular who I'm going to talk about that we get subbed on here a little later.
Yeah.
But who the fuck else are we going to bring in?
Yeah.
And that's what it is
and
right now.
Again, going back to what you said about Diego, man, like even in a reserve role, he would be, because if you're chasing a game, no matter the game state, if you're chasing a game, you're going to create some chances with Diego, right? Or you're going to have a better chance to. He is the closest thing we have to a chance creating 10, right? And like you could argue with me about Owen or him, right? Neither guy is an all-star in that role. And so but then even if you're protecting a lead, bring Diego in for some dark magic time wasting, you know?
The shithousery comes into play. It was definitely not a game script thing. It just fucking hurt that he was not available last night. Big time.
And I also, like, we just talked about those 3 LAFC corners. That's 2 flurries of 3 straight corners for them, further highlighting the lack of attack or attacking threat, consistent attacking threat from LAFC last night that you typically see in their games, especially at BMO Stadium. 73rd minute, Son and Bouanga combine here. Denny's able to worm his way through 5 Austin defenders before Heinzike gets down and deflects Bouanga's shot out for that 7th corner. Ordaz comes in for Chouanier. With the game the score at 1-1, another forward brought on for a midfielder there for LAFC. And of course, Ordaz ends up being a very important substitute a few minutes later. In the 77th, Austin gets a glimpse of a chance here as Azuni gets some space on the run. He crosses left to right, intended for Robert Taylor. It goes over Taylor's head, but Bobby's able to run that one down and then serve a pass to Danny, who's making a late run into the box. Danny takes a shot that ends up going into the side netting. Then Hugo Lloris restarts quickly, and all of a sudden LAFC is on the run. Tillman finds Son, who ushers it onto Palencia out on the right, and Palencia puts a cross in. It skips once across the box and comes to the foot of Bouanga, who redirects it on goal, up and over. That was a very skillful redirect with like losing no power from that cross to shot. And I do think if that's on frame, Stuver was in position. I would take Stuver to make that save, but I will always take Denny Bouanga putting one into the stands rather than having to test our keeper, no matter how great he is.
And this is how quickly this team can hit you. You know, I mean, you're going from goal kick to fucking a Bouanga unguarded shot that he fortunately sends over the net here. But yeah, I do think Stuver was in a good position, but knowing the class, the quality of Bouanga, this very easily could have been a goal.
78th minute, double change for Austin. Jon Kolmanic and Besard Savovic come in for Jon Gallagher and Ilie Sanchez. And the next minute, right after the subs, man. And again, I don't think the subs had much to do with this. But it is a fact. Right after the subs, LAFC able to slice right through that midfield. Pass up the gut from Delgado to Son. Son turns, fends off Danny, who's trying to put in a tackle from behind. Son slots it to his left, where Denny Bouanga gets a shot. It is deflected once again by Brendan Heinzike, but that sends the shot bouncing up and over Stuver and then gets tapped home by Nathan Ordaz. It sure looked live like he was offside. Ordaz, his reaction in the moments did not help that feeling because he thought he was offside. And ultimately, you look at the review, he is well onside, and it is a good goal. Again, a tough break for us because I think, dude, if BHI doesn't block that shot and deflect it, Stuver was in position. Like, it's not a guarantee that he makes the save because it's Denny Bouanga. But again, it's just 2 deflected goals. Poor Brendan, like, because again, we didn't talk about him getting hit in the face. Like, I mean, if he would have been knocked out, I don't think I would have been surprised. I think it was a Son shot to the face, whoever it was. Brutal night for Brendan on a night where I think he was fairly solid. Again, I think you can knock him for the own goal a little bit there, but the rest of his night I thought it was good.
That's what I said too. And I thought, again, he was checking Son for the majority of the night. He was physical with him, and that's what we're going to ask of him. And just like, this is so fucking unlucky
Yeah.
because this ball gets deflected and still has enough loft to be over top of what Stuver can reach, but has a ridiculous amount of topspin where the bottom of this thing is just falling out
Yep.
and is dropping into the goal. And just, it's so fucking unlucky. Look, man, I'm not going to put a ton of blame on the midfield, that the substitutions that came in here, but like, I am going to point to it a little bit because we've seen
That's
it
fair.
all year long, dude. And like, Ilya is as slow as Basard Sabovic is. Basard Sabovic is fucking slow.
Yeah.
But Ilya has played long enough in this league, which is a higher quality league than what Sabovic came in from.
Yeah.
Sabovic just is a step slow all the time. He is just literally a step slow. Ilya makes up for it with awareness to be able to overcome some of his limitations in regard to his athleticism or lack thereof.
Sure.
Sabovic does not position himself, and I think that is a direct result of the fact that the league that he played in, his athleticism was not that big of a concern for teams.
Right.
And like, in this league, these guys are faster, and they're just beating him to the spot more often than not. And like, no, this is not his fault on this goal or anything like that. But like, it's something we've seen for the entire season here, man. And he's got to get that shit figured out.
Yeah, I mean, obviously we'll talk about him again here in a minute, but like, to your point, right? I'm not an expert on the Swedish first division.
Yeah.
But I don't think there are Sons and Buangas running around on multiple teams.
Agreed. Exactly.
86th minute double change for Austin. Go ahead. What do you got?
And I mean, it's not even the upper echelon, high quality superstar players like that. I just think the level of athleticism in this league is higher, top to bottom, than it is in the league that he came from.
So Austin does make their final two changes in the 86th. Cascante and Fodre. Foudre? Fodre? Huh?
What's his name? JC Fodre? Idiot.
In for Dessler and Svatok. 89th here. Look, Austin's desperation down the stretch does give them a few chances at the end. Here in the 89th, Kolmanich cross skips off the grass into the chest of CJ, and then CJ controls it. He drops it right into the path of Sabo. And Sabo just scuffs the shit out of this shot, man. It rolls harmlessly to Lloris. And look, man, if we had not seen that exact sort of disappointing offensive output and opportunity from Sabovic all season, then I don't think this would hurt as much as it feels like it does. Because that was I don't think he came in and like, it's not like he was the worst player on the field, but he just, this mishit opens the opportunity for everybody to pile on Sabovic like he's somehow the reason we lost this game. I'm not saying the shot was good. It was not. And he hasn't been good with it all year. And it's not the only, like you mentioned, it's not the only aspect of his game that the level has to be raised across the board for Bessard next year.
Has to. Absolutely.
And this is, again, I just hope he's able to make some sort of impact in game 2 and then the hopeful game 3 that we will have. Because I don't want him to go into the offseason on this low of a note, right? Like, because you can do so much. We've seen him do so much better with his shots, not necessarily banging it into the back of the net, but at least making the keeper fucking sweat. I mean, that's like he's got the yips.
I know, man. And like we have said all season long, we thought eventually one of these chances that he had got from the start of this season up until this point, he was going to be able to score one for us. And this might have been the worst attempt he had all year with those chances. But just again, imagine if that's Diego Rubio. You know what I mean? Like, imagine if that's Rubio right there, man. Like, that ball is going on frame and it might well be going in.
Ilya has done it better this year.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree, man. So, like, again, I had my little rant about him. He did not cost us the game last night, but like, we are going to have so few of these opportunities that this cannot be what we get out of it.
Yep. 90th minute, you get offside whistled on Azuni. He looked like he was hanging out behind the line. It's kind of a long ball went up in the air. So flag goes up. Mendoza blows the whistle, makes LAFC back up about 10 yards to where the flag was actually raised. LAFC restarts it. Tafare rolls the ball to
Oh my
Ryan
God.
Porteous. And then Porteous doesn't do anything. So Azuni sprints up, takes the ball off him. He takes off towards the net, and Mendoza blows it dead. And Austin is furious for good reason.
Furious.
There was this is, again, I think the officiating on the field, the fouls and things like that, and the replay, fine. This was inexcusable, elementary level mistake by Mendoza. He is very clearly on the rewatch confused by the fourth official grabbing the board for stoppage time because LA has subs getting ready. We're going to show stoppage time. You don't blow the whistles for that.
Yeah.
And that took away that was a boneheaded play by LAFC that Mirtu, his awareness should have given him a chance in on net, in on Lloris. And despite him failing to finish chances like that many times throughout the season, I would take that 11 out of 10 times, especially at that point of the game. And man, some bad luck for us. Because, dude, they restart the game without making the subs.
Yeah, holy shit.
So, screwed right there.
Yeah,
screwed.
Yep, agreed. Tafari is trying to be so cute here.
Yes.
He's trying to be so cute here and just tap it very nonchalant and let Port just kind of like sit on this for a little bit. But it's clear as day. And his unit is furious, and rightfully so, because you said he makes a super heady play that's going to give us a chance. You know what I mean? I don't see those guys catching him with his momentum pushing him forward and those guys facing the other direction.
He was gone.
Fucking terrible, man. And like, I guess now my opinion a little bit is shifting because I did forget about this play. Yeah. And like Tafari clearly plays this to Porteous, man.
Yeah.
Clearly.
Put it in play.
Yep. And like, so take all of that into account from last night. Take everything in that, happened and took place. This instance, the questionable foul call on Buka, who would have put him in on net, the deflected goal from BHI for the own goal, the deflection from Bouanga that took place. And the fact that you were still right there and had the chance to steal this game on the road versus this team, you have to feel good about it. Now, on the flip side of that, I do think, you found ways to corral Bouanga and Son to the best of your abilities. Son, I think, more so than Bouanga. I think we did a better job on Son than we did on Bouanga. And, the flip side of that argument is like, those guys can just masterclass you on a good night that they're both feeling good and everything like that. So like, I understand that element, but you're right here coming back on Sunday with a chance to knot this series up, man, tie this series up. And like, I feel good about it. I really do, because of all these things we pointed to about last night's game that just went in LA's favor. And they might not go that way the next time we see this team. So fucking a hell of an effort. I know we're not completely through it all, but like a hell of a fucking effort from everyone last night. And I think we're right there. We can play with these guys, man.
Yeah, man, I'm with you. And like you said, there's notes to put a bow on this one. 5 minutes of stoppage given. And again, those LAFC subs come in the second minute of stoppage.
Crazy.
Bobasi and Jailson in for Delgado and Son. And then Palencia picks up a yellow card for bitching in the third minute of stoppage time. Final whistle blows. 59% possession for Austin at the end of this one. 18 shots to 8 in favor of LAFC, but just 5 on target to 2 in favor of LAFC. Austin created one big chance. It was the Gallagher goal. 8 corners to 1 in favor of LAFC. And on FOTMob's XG model, 1.14 expected goals on the night for Austin, 2.15 for LAFC. But expected goals on target, 1.07 for Austin, 1.51 for LAFC.
And I mean, the Ordaz gets you 0.96 XG because they gave that shot to him. Yep. So like if you look at it with that, minus 0.96 on the XG, you're literally at like 1.14 and 1.14 pretty much. I'm not, fucking so.
Well, and the expected goals on target is 0.99 from the Ordaz shot.
Yeah. Yeah.
Which brings them, we are more than half a goal on target than expected over them. So again, it was a very competitive match. And again, like we said on the preview pod on Sunday, like I wrote in the article, right? Ugly is beautiful in this matchup. We have to make the game not very fun to watch to have the fun and the reward of potentially winning the series. And, of course, that only starts. You can only win this series by winning the next 2 games. So I do want to talk about game 2 and maybe anything that we have to say about that here in a moment. But we can also talk about some of Coach Estevez's comments that he made in the post-game presser, as you see some of the charts here. Look, man, of the 18 shots per ASA, 1 great XG chance, 1 good XG chance for LA, 8 average, 8 poor. That is, again, like going back to what you said earlier, that's the recipe, man. And the bounces did not go our way.
Yep. I mean, this was exactly how you had to play this team to steal this game. I'm proud of what the guys put out there last night, and I hope that they, obviously this loss is going to sting. You lose a playoff game, it's fucking tough. But like, I hope they're encouraged and have the confidence that they know that they can beat this team. And now you're going to have to come down to the queue. That shit is going to be absolutely rocking for us. And like, you got to defend your home turf, man. It's just coming down to, it's do or die now. It is what it is. We're going to see what you guys got.
So I wanted to talk about a couple Nico quotes that I pulled from the presser this morning. I was kind of entertained by this because Nico, telling it like it is, if you ask me, he said, they have Son and Bouanga. What are we talking about? The whole week, everyone is asking me about these 2 superstars, and it's normal that they are good. Yeah. We have to understand that they are good players, and it's very difficult. We reduced this team to 5 shots on goal, and 2 goals come from deflections. And then he was asked also, what can we do better as a team in the first half? Do better to create more chances. And we had good possession, but lacked verticality. And I completely agree there. He also said, I think LAFC didn't feel comfortable.
Nope.
They were not happy about how the game was going. And we can learn from that and try to do it even better in game 2. So unless you have anything else to add here on game 1, we can talk a little bit about what we expect on Sunday here at the Q. Do or die the rest of the way here, man. Every game the rest of the way until Austin loses is a knockout match.
There we go. I guess I'll touch on that quote real quick. I love it. Absolutely love it. You know what I mean? And it was the truth. They were frustrated all night long. They did not play that game that they wanted to play. And that's with getting an own goal. And that's with getting the deflected goal for Ordaz late in that matchup, man. So I'm proud of the dudes, and I do hope that they build some confidence from last night and be ready for this game on Sunday, man, because we're right there with these guys. And Son and Bouanga, yeah, they're 2 of the best players in the league, man. Like, they're going to be good. But, like, we found a way. I like the way that he said reduced them to 5. I really like the way that he said that. So that's a great quote from Coach. And again, we have the recipe to beat this team.
Just got to go out there and do it. And it appears that we will be able to have the services of Osman Bukhari, Coach confirming that, he's been dealing with the quad soreness, but that was not, he said, why he came out of the match, and that he is good to go. So no worries. Shouldn't expect to see him pop up on the injury report on Saturday. Coach also mentioned that the team did stay in Los Angeles last night to get a better night's sleep, had a recovery session at the hotel this morning, and then flight back to Austin today. So training Friday, Saturday, game 2 on Sunday. And when you're looking ahead to this second game, do you have any changes lineup wise, formation, tactically, that anything off the top of your head? Because for me, I think I'm fine rolling out the same 11. And I think if you ask me who I'm going to change, it might be Alexander Svatok. Like, if I was going to say who I thought was the guy that stood out the most to me in a negative way last night, it was probably Svatok, mostly in the first half hour or so, especially leading up to their first goal. A couple times he got caught out, I thought. But again, you also know that I'm a big Svatok backer. So like, I would put Djordjevic, I think, in before Julio to start this match. I'm not shocked if we see things shuffle on the back line, but with no Rubio in the mix, what else are we going to do?
There's just not much you can do. I mean, I don't want a Duber start. I don't want a fucking Sabo start. You know what I mean? And like, that might be you might be onto something there with that, because we know that they're going to try to make us have the ball, right? And like, we've seen Djordjevic in possession. I think even from this limited sample size, be much more comfortable with the ball at his feet than Svatak is.
And those long changing balls, again, it's not a large sample size, and maybe it's the first impression that Djordjevic made on us in that Sporting match where he got the surprise start. I don't even, that may have not have been a surprise start, but you know what I'm saying nonetheless. Like, and if I'm looking from my fan perspective that I want to see more long balls hit in the direction of Osman when we do have their back line pulled up a little bit further up the pitch, I think Djordjevic is your better answer for that, or a better player personnel to put in there for that compared to Svatak. So again, like we're just talking about things around the margins here and trying to speculate, because usually you would think, okay, like there are a couple changes that we can make if we're sitting here watching the film. But like, again, it feels like we just don't, like you mentioned earlier, we don't have the depth to really make too many sweeping moves. So to me, it's more like small tactical changes and better individual play, especially from guys like Azuni and Buka. You can't expect to get a ton of touches, but when you do, you got to be more aggressive, especially Osman, in my eyes.
Yes, and I mean, let's give credit to Trundle and LAFC for sure, because part of their game plan was to make sure that Buka saw a double team as soon as that ball hit his foot, and like they wanted to take him out of the game, knowing how limited we are offensively. And still, I'm gonna take my chances with him versus a double team. I am. Yeah. I want to see him go at it when that ball hits your foot, and I know that he's a guy who likes to assess a little bit, survey, get that defender a little comfortable, and then just use his speed to blast past you. But like, I just want to see a little more aggression right from the jump. And like, I'm with you. I think the only thing that you're going to have to watch out for is some changes from LAFC and how to respond to those once we see their lineup and how they want to play this game.
Sure. Well, and I also think, right, that not only is it an elimination game for Austin, but you then have a week, or a little less than a week, because I think we go Sunday to potentially Saturday for a game 3. But you've got plenty of time to rest during the week, so we don't have to worry about any sort of quick turnaround here. Unless Osman is out there, right, unless he's got some sort of issues still with the quad, or he's really sucking wind and we can tell that his performance has diminished, I would hope we're getting 90 from him from Dessler and all the main guys here, right? Because it's do or die. If you do not win this match, some way, somehow, the season is over. And so again, I think further context provided, if you get your ass beat here, I will not feel so proud probably. But like, come out here, compete with this team that you're not supposed to beat.
Correct.
But you absolutely can.
Yep, you got to leave it all out there. That's what it's going to be. You're going to have to leave it all out there. So I think the guys are going to do that. They're going to be ready for this. I hope they're a little pissed off from how this game went last night, because I do think that they deserve to at least be in a PK shootout with this team. If not, like we said, once you get the equalizer, if not, potentially find a way to get another goal. I'm ready for it, man. I'm amped. Like, this is going to be fucking fun Sunday night.
Yeah, all right, man. How much is Austin winning by on Sunday?
I'm going to go 1-1 PK shootout win.
Okay.
I've acknowledged how much we frustrated LAFC. I acknowledge that we have a recipe, a formula to upset and beat this team. I also just have a healthy amount of respect for what they have over there in the organization that they do. So I think, I was initially going to go with the 1-0 classic Austin FC win, but I do think you're going to see Son and Bouanga take their game up a level, and you're going to have to match it.
Yeah, I think we're kind of sharing a similar headspace there. And because I have a 2-2 Austin wins in PKs. I just think it's so hard, even though Austin has been pretty darn good at limiting this LAFC team in its many forms throughout the season, and really dating back to last season as well under a former coach. I just think LAFC is going to be able to break through for multiple goals here. But at home, I think we can as well. But I think a big part of that is not just the players and the coaches, but here at home on Sunday night, I think it is very important, like you said, that we live up to the expectation that we have on us as fans to really bring it in the stands, no matter what's on the scoreboard here in an elimination game. Because, again, these guys have said, we know the players, they feel the energy. Whether it has bolstered them, right? It clearly hasn't. We don't have a great home record this year, all things considered, but we know that we can give these guys that little extra burst of energy, which is what they might need to get past this LA team one time and force a decisive game 3. So it is a 2-2 PK shootout win for me, a 1-1 PK shootout win for E, and we really do not give two shits how you get it done, boys. Survive and advance. E, anything else for you on game 2 or anything else on the whole before we shut it down?
I mentioned that I thought that Son and Bouanga were going to step their game up a little bit. I expect Mirtu Azuni to be rabid come Sunday. I mean, if that results in a goal contribution or not, I'm not sure. But I think last night you saw his willingness to throw himself into the fire. And I respect that about the guy. And I think he's going to be rabid on this game coming up here on Sunday. And hopefully it leads to some goal scoring chances for him. And I'm going to roll with this dude. I really am.
Yeah. And to his credit, on our way out, I don't know if the league gave him a hockey assist for that goal last night, but he definitely set up Owen, who then set up Johnny. So, again, we'll give him some credit on our way out for that. We appreciate you tuning in, sticking with us here on episode 268 of the North End Podcast. We're back on Monday, recapping Game 2 between Austin and LAFC, hopefully previewing a decisive Game 3. And we will also be recapping Damian Las and Louisville City's first-round matchup taking place against Detroit on Saturday. Playoffs all around the country here for American Soccer. E, best time of the year. Hopefully we are continuing our postseason run next time we talk to you all. Enjoy the rest of your week, everybody. We'll do the same. We'll see you at the Q for Game 2 on Sunday and back here for another episode on Monday. Until then, he's E, and I'm Zach. Vamos Austin FC, everybody. Goodbye.